Well, Revolution of the Daleks. There was no way it was going to be worse than Timeless Children, so just about anything would look better than that. And in some ways, this could almost be chalked up to one of the better episodes out of the Chibnall era, which, again, is not saying a whole lot. After seeing all these, I think Kerblam still remains as the best of those. There's only a handful, and yeah, it's really bad. And even Kerblam wouldn't be a good episode along previous Doctor Who. It's just, it comes out looking better because it's surrounded by crap. So who are these Daleks they've got? Well, they actually do a plot that, amazingly enough, makes some amount of sense. So the previous episode of the New Year special that had the Dalek recreate itself with Earth means and all that, so it had that ridiculous looking Dalek machine. Well, that thing was still around, and so it stands to reason that certain people on Earth would want to explore that technology and whatnot. And so that's the deal. So they do it, and they want to make these robot drones that can police, violent uprisings and whatnot. And so Pseudo-Trump returns, and he wants in on this deal and is helping out this woman to be prime minister. And she does become prime minister, and they're going to enact this, plan. Isolated unto that is not bad. That's not a bad plot. The problem is, and this continues, and this was true before the Chibnall era, I don't recall they ever really explained this other than just a off line that time can be rewritten. Well, who rewrote it? And I don't, is people just, they don't recognize Daleks. I don't get it. The entire Earth had been abducted by them. And nobody remembers this, so it's bizarre. So the intention of these Dalek drones is for them to be drones. They're just robots, and they were going to use them for security purposes, and of course that's why they look similar to the one from the previous special and all that. But even that is. You would use the likeness of the machines that everybody was terrified of. And this is going to get you elected and all that. I mean, I don't think so, but fortunately they don't remember. And so there they are. And so other than that, it kind of works okay, I guess. Meanwhile, boy, do you get any new clues as to what the Timeless Children and all that? No, it basically just establishes that's the new canon, and the Doctor is just a bit lost about that, thinking about it, but just, I don't know who I am anymore, and then finally, I know who I am. I'm the Doctor. So yeah, well, so yeah, the Doctor is in prison in the sort of shot-eye looking place, and you think, maybe there'll be two separate stories. Well, not really. She shows up, and it's just another episode, and they reunite and all that. Captain Jack shows up at the prison and helps her escape, and so they finally do get Captain Jack to interact with this new Doctor and all that. So. Okay, but it's kind of like I don't know if that was supposed to, there's a scene where she's alone in her cell, and then she hears someone knocking on the wall, and she tries to make contact with who it is. Was that supposed to be Jack? I don't know. It's just like, what? It goes nowhere. It means nothing. I don't know. Unless, they'll refer back to it for some reason. It's another one of the Doctors that we never knew about, I don't know. So, so the plot basically, of course, you're messing with things you don't understand. It's going to backfire on you. Of course, it does. Turns out there's little cellular residue of the Dalek that from the previous special, and some idiot decides to take it and clone it. Now, you would think this would involve, because I figured Pseudo-Trump is just going to be a full-on villain, but he's not. He actually discovers this, and he's all disgusted by it, and he tells the young scientist to destroy all that and get rid of it and all that. So he's actually doing the right thing. But it's too late. Then, of course, like in the previous special, this Dalek takes over the scientist, and it turns out that they were utilizing the financing and properties and whatnot for Pseudo-Trump and all that to have their own little Dalek factory of Dalek clones, and they're all connected to the drones that Pseudo-Trump has manufactured, and they're ready to transport to them and take over. And so that's what happens, and they start killing people, and it's like, oh no, they made thousands of them, so it's enough to take over the world. And the doctor is like, oh crap. So there's only one thing I can do, and so she has to reach out to the real Daleks for help, because the Daleks, they're Dalek supremacists. they're racists and whatnot, and they demand that their race be pure. So they detect. She leads them to Earth, and they detect impure mutated Dalek strains or whatnot that someone's been messing with. So they go over there to clean house, and they wipe out these Daleks and all that. But now, they're on Earth, so the Doctor's got to get rid of them. So here they actually resolved the extra TARDIS left over from that horrible episode, and so the Doctor makes use of it to bait and switch them. They think they can. So there's actually a kind of the TARDIS. You think it's the TARDIS, it's the other one. Police box appears, and the Daleks just storm into it really quick. It's kind of a cool scene. But it's a trick, it's a trap, and they're stuck inside it, and the Doctor projects herself into it and tells them, I got you, and I've set it to implode on itself and fall into the void. This could have lead to an interesting way out of the whole Timeless Children, and Dr. Ruth and all that stuff, in that, that control room, which is leaps and bounds better than the one that Dr. Jody has, but it's also the same one that Dr. Ruth had. So what if these Daleks figure out a way to survive in their compacted state and restore the TARDIS, and also there's some hair or whatever on the floor from the Doctor, and they've cloned the Doctor, and she regenerates into this Dr. Ruth character and all that sort of stuff. And it could lead to all kinds of trouble. For why is the Doctor wanted by the Jadoon? I guess that'll be a recurring thing too, I assume, because she's now escaped from the prison, so now she's a fugitive from them. Stuff like that. But why originally were they after the Doctor? You kind of have to resolve that. But all that is just the result. There's this other TARDIS sitting there, and then now it's gone. So, but still, that kind of, I'm pretty sure that Chibbs is not going to he's not going to retcon his little story or reveal that it was, a bait and switch thing or what have you. But certainly, Dr. Ruth is good, which he's openly admitted he doesn't have any ideas for where that goes, or, at least at the time of the interview. And so I seriously doubt that has anything to do with it, but it could be if a writer wanted to. Because now, it's just, why would the TARDIS look like a police box when Dr. Ruth is supposed to be this earlier Doctor pre-Hartnell or in between Hartnell, whatever it's supposed to be. They don't, again, nothing's established. I would have thought it'd be better if she was from the future, but there we would be. It was already turned into a police box by the Doctor herself, and, the Daleks could be, but I don't know if they would do that. The Daleks are behind another Doctor. But yeah, so, but for all intents and purposes, no, it's gone, and that's that. The other thing they did do was lay groundwork for suddenly Yaz has to come to, because they don't outright say it, but she's in love with the doctor, and that she's the one who's the more passionate about getting her back and all this stuff. And then when she does finally return, she's really upset that the doctor was gone for so long. I don't know why. I'm trying to remember. Did she tell them that look, I was locked in prison, and it looked like it was a lot longer for her than it was for them. They're saying she was missing for 10 months. What have you? As for Graham and Ryan leaving, no, they don't die heroic deaths or anything like that. They just decide to leave, mostly because Ryan has done some thinking, and he thinks he's better off on Earth. And you would think the more likely thing is that, like, he met a girl or whatever, and he's got a job, and he spent 10 months, and his life has moved on, and he's like, yeah, I can't leave all this. And then, of course, Graham would stay, for him, and so that's why Graham stays, because he wants to, be with Ryan. But that would have made more. Instead, they decide they want to be superheroes, so the doctor gives them a psychic paper so they can go stick their noses where they shouldn't and all that stuff. And they talk about, they're hearing reports of some weirdness here and there, and so they're going to go investigate and all that. With what money, I don't know. But it's kind of a stupid way for them to leave, but what do you expect? Pseudo-Trump was just kind of a comic relief there for a while, but then, of course, he turns immediately evil and decides to side with the original Daleks who show up and sell out humanity just so he can have some position of power and wealth or what have you. And then at the last minute, they basically help him escape, and he comes up with a story. And so I guess that was the gag, but of course he's pseudo-Trump, so he had to be evil, So it's not that great of an episode, but it's better than most that the Chibs era has done. And certainly there's interesting little possibilities that, don't worry, none of them will be pursued, except the romantic interest that Yaz apparently has for the doctor. So they just sort of shoehorned that in there real quickly. But there's some credibility, but you just don't get to see it. But over the 10 months and not having her in her life, she suddenly realized, this is, she means more to me than I thought. And that sort of thing. So, I expect there to be something like that going forward. And the stupid, timeless child thing is still in place, despite how incredibly stupid it is. So there you go. Revolution of the Daleks. What's going to happen in the coming season? I don't know. I probably never will. Well, I'll be watching other reviews and stuff, but I don't know that I can even bother. So there you go. Happy New Year, Doctor Who. Thanks for watching and listening. I do appreciate it, and even if you didn't like it, I still appreciate you watching. And hey, why not like and subscribe and share? Probably just for the ones that did like it. And down below is a link description to my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show. It has new episodes of Night Night and Bubba Stargone and all that good stuff. And then there's my mini stores down below. That'll t-shirts and hats and stuff. And but the premier store is the Mr Nailsin Store over at Zazzle.com. And there you can get your lovely Dr. Woke t-shirts. Oh, yes. Among many other things. Yeah. So anyway, Happy New Year.